So YouTube, is Mr. Poketacular. This is a tutorial video on how to play Pokemon. There's a lot of information. I'm going to try to get as much information as I can for you guys. This is kind of like a little community video, so if I'm not able to cover exactly everything, you guys are more welcome to join along and comment, and you know, so people can learn how to play Pokemon. But we'll go ahead and start with the basic rules. And so the first thing you're going to need to even begin a game is each player is going to have a deck of 60 cards. So you have to have Pokemon in your deck, and basic energies, and trainers and supporters, which I'll make a video on how to make a deck too. So but you'll need 60 cards in your deck, and you'll need damage counters and a coin to flip during the game. Some moves require a coin to flip. Okay, now that you have a 60 card deck, you have everything that you need to play, and if you wanted, you could have a play mat, but it's not required. So to start off the game, you want to flip the coin to see who goes first. Somebody calls heads or tails, and whatever it lands on, then that determines who goes first. And then once you determine who goes first, then you go ahead and each player draws 7 cards into their hand. And then what you want to try to do to start out the game, you have to get a basic Pokemon. And if you don't get a basic Pokemon, you tell your opponent. If he gets a basic Pokemon and you didn't, he draws a card. But if both of y'all don't get a basic Pokemon, then all you do is shuffle both of your cards back into your deck, and then you redraw 7 cards. So the only time you get to draw a card is if one of you get a basic and the other person doesn't get a basic. So after you get your basic, you want to go ahead and put your basic on your active Pokemon, and if you have any basic to put on your bench, you can do so. You don't have to, but at least you have to have an active Pokemon. After you do that, then you set your prize cards, which is 6 cards you put off to the side, and those are the cards that you're trying to get when you knock out a Pokemon. And when you collect all 6 prize cards, that's when you win the game. So now that you have that set up, you go ahead and okay, when you did the coin toss and you determine who went first, now that person goes first. So on your turn, the first thing you want to do, and you have to do, is draw a card. After you draw a card, you can place Pokemon on your bench. You cannot evolve Pokemon that you first place on your bench, and you cannot evolve Pokemon on your first turn. But now Pokemon Black and White, the new cards that came out, allows you to play supporters on your first turn, and trainers. So you can do that now on your first turn. So you want to place basic Pokemon. You can only attach 1 energy per turn, so you want to go ahead and do that. Attach 1 energy. If you have any poke powers, you'll have to read them. You can play them. Okay, so on going back to the trainers and supporters, you can play as many trainers as you want, and you can only play 1 supporter per turn and 1 stadium. It says you can play only 1 of each for your turn. So you can only retreat 1 time. And at the bottom right hand corner of your Pokemon card should be a retreat cost, and it says how many colorless is required to retreat, or if you had a trainer that you're able to switch. But you'll have to play your cards as they're read. Like example, if you wanted to retreat and you had a trainer card and you play a trainer card, it says switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. So you do exactly what the card says when you play that trainer. And that goes for everything that you do, including attacks. You read them out and you do exactly what the card says. But the last move on your Pokemon would be to attack. So when you attack and use an attack, make sure that you have enough energies and the right type of energies to do that attack. So if it says it needs 1 fire and 2 colorless, you'll need 1 fire energy, and then the 2 colorless can be paid with any type of energy because it's colorless. And then you'll be able to use that move if it was 1 fire and 2 colorless. So in total it would require 3 energy cards to do whatever attack that would be. After you do your attack, your opponents, or now it's your opponent's turn. So then now you repeat the process. You'll draw a card, put basic Pokemon, and now if it's past your guys' first turn, now you can start evolving Pokemon to the next stage. So when you put a basic onto your bench, you cannot evolve him on the same turn. You'll have to evolve him on your next turn, and then when you evolve him on your next turn, you can't evolve him again. You'll have to wait another turn to use his evolution card. Now that I explained everything that you have to do in your turn, the whole key to win a game is to collect your prize cards. Or now they have a new way that you can win, which is a Lost World type of card, which you put, what the supporter card does is you put 6 Pokemon into the Lost Zone, and then the Stadium card allows you to declare yourself winner on your turn if you have 6 Pokemon in the Lost Zone. That's for more advanced players, but this is to teach you how to play basic, and basically you want to collect all your prize cards to win the game. But once you start getting the hang of the game and start getting those cards, then you can start using them and you'll know how to play. But since I explained what you got to do during your turn and how to win the game, another way to win a game too, while it's on my mind, is, let's say the game lasted so long and you go to draw a card but you have no cards left in your deck to draw. Well, if you can't draw a card, you also lose. So you want to try to beat the other opponent before you run out of cards, and hopefully the game don't last that long to where you lose like that, because that would be bad. Alrighty, I'm gonna explain this card here. I have Hitmonchan in my hand, and I'm gonna show you the HP. As you can see in the top corner there, it says okay, you see Hitmonchan on my left side, and then below Hitmonchan it says basic. That is a Pokemon you can play on your bench right away. And then to the right is his HP, and it's 70, and right by the 70 is the type of Pokemon he is. So it has a little red ball with a black fist in it, so that means he's a fighting type Pokemon. So that's how you find out what type. And then he has 2 moves. He has detect. Flip a coin. If heads, prevent all effects of attacks, and including damage done to Hitmonchan during your opponent's next turn. So what that move would do, if you had 1 energy attached to him, and if it lands on heads, he couldn't do anything to your Pokemon on the next turn, like poison or any damage, or effects of attacks. I'm sorry. Let me see. Here, let me read that. Flip a coin. If heads, prevent all effects of attacks, including damage done. Yes. So they can't do damage or poison or anything. It's like if you're in the game, you use protect. It protects you from everything on the opponent's next turn. So that gives you a chance there to build up to his move, Sky Uppercut. See, which is the bottom one, and it does 30 damage. See where it has the fighting energy and the colorless, and it says Sky Uppercut and then 30 damage. So that's what it would do to the active Pokemon. And you can do damage to the bench Pokemon too, but it would have to say that. So you do what the card tells you to do. So Pokemon's pretty easy. All the cards pretty much tell you what to do. Like that bottom attack says this attack damage isn't affected by resistance. Well, how do we find what resistance is? Well, to the bottom left hand corner you see a little purple circle, which is Psychic, and it says ×2. That's the weakness. Now in the middle, his Hitmonchan's resistant doesn't have any, or he doesn't have any resistance, I'm sorry. And then right to the bottom right corner, there's a little colorless energy. That's his retreat cost. So one colorless energy, which would be any energy, would cost for him to retreat. And like I said, you can only retreat one time during your turn, unless you had a trainer that says you can switch, and you can use trainers as much as you want, switch as much Pokemon, but that would be a waste. Okay, another way to win is, let's say you knocked out 2 Pokemon from your opponent. Okay, so those 2 Pokemon that you knocked out, you collected your 2 prize cards. Okay, let's say now he has no Pokemon on his bench and he only has 1 left in his active, and let's say you knocked him out. Well, now that you knocked him out and he has no other Pokemon on his bench, even though you didn't collect all your prize cards, he has no more Pokemon to put in play. So he is now knocked out completely and you win the game.